Rain easing into a faint drip. A wall clock ticks steadily. The hum of a refrigerator in the distance. By dawn, the storm had wrung itself dry. Elena stood at her window, her eyes tracing the wet street like it might answer for the night before. At 6 a.m., a single headlight flared through the fog. Mr. Crane's sedan rolling back into his driveway. He wasn't alone. She lifted her phone, zoomed in, caught a shaky frame. A woman in the passenger seat, hair the same copper shade as her own. For a second, the woman turned toward the window, just enough for Elena to see a face that looked too familiar. No, that can't be me. A dull metallic click somewhere upstairs, like a latch giving way. The sound froze her. Every house creak suddenly felt deliberate, aware. She grabbed the flashlight from the counter, flicked it on, and started for the stairs. Footsteps on carpet. A door hinge sighs. Each doorway yawned open into shadow. The hallway light had gone out sometime during the night, leaving her reflection to flash in dark picture frames as she passed. Halfway down the hall, her phone vibrated in her pocket. Buzz, buzz, buzz. Unknown number. Hello? Low background hum, an engine idling, a faint melody hummed by a woman. Who is this? Who is this? The call dropped. Static sighed through the speaker, then silence. When she replayed the recording, a soft electronic ping hid under the noise, the same tone her phone used for location sharing. She opened her settings. Her location was being broadcast live to CR Home Systems. Crane. The kitchen clock read 6:37 a.m. She threw on a coat, slid her phone into her pocket, and stepped outside. Wet shoes on pavement, wind in power lines. Crane's house loomed across the street, porch light off, windows dim, but a faint blue shimmer pulsed from inside. Television? Or camera feed? She crossed the road, rain misting her face, heartbeat syncing with the tap of her steps. She knocked once. Nothing. Knocked again. Door unlatches. The door opened halfway. A woman stood there, serene and unfamiliar. Can I help you? I'm looking for Mr. Crane. He's sleeping. You really shouldn't come here at night. Elena's gaze dropped to the silver locket resting against the woman's collarbone. An old pattern, twin feathers etched into a circle. She'd seen that same design before, tucked in a box of family photos in her own basement. Where did you get that? Gift. Why? Because it was my mother's? The woman's smile didn't move, but her eyes changed, just slightly, like someone adjusting a mask. You must be mistaken. Good night, Miss Grant. Door closes, locks engage. Elena stood in the drizzle, the porch light cutting a pale circle around her shoes. Behind the curtains, the blue flicker intensified, like the TV volume turned up without sound. Her phone chimed in her pocket. Digital tone. She pulled it out. On the screen, device paired successfully. Below it, a new Bluetooth connection, CR living room cam, and a thumbnail preview already playing. It wasn't Crane's living room. It was hers. A faint creak, floorboards under slow footsteps. The feed showed her own hallway, live. A figure moved into frame, out of focus, walking toward her front door. She stared at the tiny screen, too afraid to blink. The figure stopped at the door, raised a hand. A soft knock, right beside Elena on the porch. She gasped, spinning around toward Crane's closed door. but the knock had come from behind her. Echoing knock again, this time distant, across the street. Her phone screen went black. The street was empty. No car, no figure. Just the quiet hum of morning breaking through the fog. Elena backed away, step by careful step, toward her house. Every instinct screamed to run, but something colder, heavier, kept her moving slow, as if any sudden sound might invite an answer she didn't want to hear. If you're watching me, then you already know what happens next. Morning cicadas buzzing faintly, a cold breeze through trees, a distant car on wet pavement. Elena kept her eyes on her front door the entire walk back across the street. Her phone stayed clutched in her hand, the screen still dark, her thumb hovering like it might shock back to life. But it didn't. Not a flicker. By the time she reached her porch, the world felt hollow, like someone had scooped out every sound that belonged there and replaced it with an imitation. She unlocked her door slowly. Nothing looked disturbed. The hallway, the couch, the coat stand, all exactly where she'd left them. But the air felt touched, as if someone had been inches from her minutes before. She stepped inside and closed the door behind her. Okay. Prove it. Prove someone was here. She moved quickly, pulling open drawers, checking under furniture, scanning for anything moved, anything missing. She opened the basement door last. A cold breath drifted up. She descended the steps, one slow step at a time, fingers brushing the rail. At the bottom, she flicked the string light and froze. The metal lockbox, the one with the old photographs, the locket, her mother's things, was sitting in the middle of the floor, not where she'd left it, not even close. No. She approached it, knees trembling, and lifted the lid. Empty. Not a single item remained. Her breath hitched. For a second, the basement walls seemed to pull closer. On the concrete beside the box, something gleamed. A small, folded sheet of glossy paper. She picked it up with shaking fingers, unfolded it, her face drained. It was a printed photo, grainy, black and white security style. It showed her own living room and Crane, standing behind her couch, watching the staircase, watching her sleep on the couch the night before. The timestamp read 3:18 a.m. No, that's not possible. Her phone buzzed violently in her hand, the screen springing to life. A live video feed, not from Crane's camera, from hers. The angle showed the basement, the exact moment she was standing in it. In the corner of the screen, a figure moved behind her, a soft silhouette, shoulders, head bowed, hands clasped. Elena whipped around. Nothing. Her flashlight caught dust motes drifting lazily, pipes, old shelves, concrete. No figure. But in the video feed still playing on her phone, the shape remained, unmoving. This is a loop, a trick. You're trying to scare me, that's all this is. She killed the feed. The phone screen returned to her home display, as innocently as if nothing had happened. Then, 3 knocks echoed upstairs. Elena froze. The knocks weren't on the front door. They came from inside the house. She crept up the stairs, each step creaking under her weight. At the top landing, she paused, listening. Silence. Then, Elena, are you awake? The voice drifted from her living room, smooth and warm, the same tone as the woman who opened Crane's door, the same tone as the mimic on the phone. Elena inhaled slowly, trying to gather what courage she had left. She walked forward until she reached the corner of the hallway, peered into the living room, and saw no one. But the TV was on, blue static glowing, and on the screen, her own hallway camera feed pulsed faintly, trying to load. Then an image resolved. Crane, standing in his own doorway across the street, staring directly into the camera. His expression calm, polite, almost neighborly, until he raised a hand, not waving, signaling her to come to him. "What do you want from me?" A floorboard popped behind her. She spun around, but whatever made the sound had already moved, too quickly to see. Her house wasn't just being watched, it was being entered in ways she couldn't trace, couldn't catch, couldn't prove. She pulled her coat tighter around herself and took one long breath. If this is a game, I'm done playing it alone. She grabbed her keys, her phone, and marched to the door with trembling determination. Across the street, Crane hadn't moved, still staring, still waiting. But Elena wasn't walking toward him. She turned left, toward the police station, toward anyone who might still believe her. She didn't see the curtain shift behind her in Crane's window, didn't see the silhouette step away from it, didn't hear the soft click inside her own house as a hidden door eased shut. But someone did, and they followed. Night wind clawing at the siding, a distant dog barking, the hollow hum of Elena's house settling. Elena sat at her kitchen table, the lights off, her phone resting face down in front of her. It hadn't stopped vibrating since sundown. Calls from unknown numbers, alerts from devices she didn't own, notifications about security settings she never changed. Someone was in her system. Someone who knew exactly what she was doing. At 1:14 a.m., another vibration throbbed through the wood. She didn't touch it. I'm not playing anymore. The refrigerator clicked on. The sound made her flinch. And that was when she realized. The fridge light stayed dark. The compressor hummed, but the bulb inside was dead. Not burned out, unscrewed. She stepped closer, breath shaking. Who is in here? She froze. Another tap. Then a third, rhythmic, deliberate, coming from the thin wall behind the kitchen cabinets. No, that's not possible. She pressed her ear to the cool drywall. The sound stopped instantly. Then a slow scraping noise, like nails dragging across the inside of the wall. Please don't be real. Her phone buzzed again. She flipped it over. A live feed, CR basement cam. Except she didn't own any basement camera. The feed showed her basement stairs, lit somehow, even though she hadn't turned on a single light. At the bottom of the steps, a figure stood motionless, facing the wall, arms at its sides. The image glitched, then stabilized. The figure twitched. Elena jolted backward, knocking over a chair. No! The moment the chair hit the floor, the figure on her screen turned its head toward the camera. The feed cut to black. A sudden thud from downstairs. Elena's scream caught in her throat. You're not real. You can't be real. She grabbed the fire poker from beside the fireplace. Her hands trembled as she tiptoed toward the basement door. Halfway there, her phone buzzed again. A new text message from an unknown contact. She opened it with her thumb numb with fear. "Don't go down there, Elena. He's on your side." She stared at the message until the letters blurred. Who's he? A moment later, another vibration. The walls aren't hollow. They're listening. Her breath punched out of her lungs. "Stop it. Stop it!" The basement door creaks open a single inch. By itself. Elena stumbled backward, her pulse hammered in her throat. The basement light flickered, twice. Then a voice drifted upward, faint, distorted, like a playback from an old tape. "Elena, don't run. Please don't run." Her knees nearly collapsed. "Crane? Is that you? Answer me!" The voice answered, but smoother, clearer this time. Not Crane. Someone younger. Someone desperate. "You don't remember me, but I remember you." "What do you want?" "You looked right at me today, in his house. You just didn't recognize what you were seeing." Her eyes widened. The woman at Crane's door. The locket. The smile that didn't quite reach her eyes. "Who are you?" "Not the one you should be afraid of." The basement light clicked off, plunging the stairs into complete darkness. Elena dropped her phone and it skittered across the hardwood. The phone vibrates violently on the floor. The screen lit up with a final message. "She's behind you." Elena didn't turn around. She couldn't. Her whisper barely breaks the air. "Please, don't touch me." SFX. Handle jiggles softly on camera. Distant wind. The low hum of Elena's house settling. Something subtle, like fabric brushing against a wall. Elena froze halfway up the stairs, her hand gripping the rail so tightly her knuckles went white. The noise came again, soft, deliberate, inside the house. Not upstairs, not the basement. Right behind her. She turned slowly. A faint creak, like a shoe pivoting on hard wood. The hallway lights flickered once, twice, then held. Empty. But the air felt different, warmer, like someone had just passed through. Her phone buzzed. Vibration, then a soft digital ping. On the screen, a text. "Turn around." Her breath snagged. "Elena, is this you, Crane? What do you want from me?" Another text arrived instantly, like someone was typing from inside her walls. "Stop asking questions. He doesn't like that." A cold sweat crawled across her spine. She backed up the stairs one step at a time, eyes locked on the darkened hallway. Then, another sound. Rhythmic tapping, like fingers drumming the wall. Elena raised her phone, recording. "Elena, who's there?" The tapping stopped. Silence thickened the air until... "You left your door unlocked." Elena whipped around. Nothing. Just shadows and the soft, stale scent of the storm. She ran the last few steps, slammed her bedroom door, locked it, shoved a chair under the knob. Then, footsteps in the hall. Slow, measured, too heavy to be hers. The footsteps stopped right outside her door. She pressed her ear to the wood. No breathing, no movement. Just a quiet, steady tap, tap, tap. This time on the door itself. Elena's phone lit up again. "Let me in." She covered her mouth to stop the scream. Her phone buzzed again. It's colder out here. Elena, what are you? Silence, then a whisper, so faint she wasn't sure if it came through the door or the phone. You know me. Elena's heart pounded so loud it drowned everything out. She opened her phone's camera and checked the live feed from the security system she'd installed that morning. The hallway camera loaded. There was no man, no shadow, nothing standing at her door, but the door handle turned on screen. Elena dropped the phone, scrambling backward toward her window. Elena, no, why is this happening? On her dresser, a photo frame fell over on its own. Clack. She jumped, gasping. The frame had landed face down. She picked it up with shaking hands. It was a photo of her mother holding baby Elena, with Crane standing in the background. Younger, smiling, like family. A slip of paper slid out from behind the frame. It contained one sentence, handwritten. You were never supposed to come back. Her pulse crashed in her ears. Someone had been inside her room, recently, close enough to touch her things, close enough to leave her messages. She tore open the window and climbed onto the roof, breathing hard. As she steadied herself, her bedroom light suddenly turned on behind her. A shadow moved in the room, not shaped like Crane, not tall enough, not anything she recognized. The figure stepped closer to the window, slow, silent. It raised a hand and pressed its palm against the glass. Elena stumbled backward across the shingles. The figure tilted its head and whispered something she couldn't hear, but she felt it, deep, crawling under her skin. The figure wasn't trying to get out. It was waiting for her to come back in. Wind scraping against the windows, a heater clicking on and off, Elena's breath unsteady. Elena sat on the floor of her living room, laptop open, screen brightness the only light cutting through the darkness. Detective Mara's warning replayed in her head. Stop investigating Crane. But the video she'd found in her attic said the opposite. Someone wanted her to see it. The paused frame glared up at her. The woman with the familiar face. The one Elena now knew wasn't her mother at all, but someone wearing her mother's necklace. Someone smiling directly into the camera as if the person behind it meant everything to her. Elena hit the spacebar. Click. Video resumes. If anything happens to me, don't let him tell you it was an accident. You know how he lies. Elena leaned closer. The woman's eyes darted off screen, toward whoever was holding the camera. Then a voice spoke from behind the lens. A low, calm voice she'd heard 100 times through walls and fences and polite neighborhood conversations. Mr. Crane, come back inside. You're being dramatic again. Elena's entire body went cold. It is him. The woman shook her head, fingers clutching her locket. No, I'm not going back until you stop. Stop what? Watching her. Elena's stomach twisted. Watching her? The woman on screen stepped back, voice breaking. She's just a girl, Crane. She doesn't even know you exist. You can't build your life around her. Elena jabbed the pause key. Who is she talking about? A chill raced down her spine as the realization hit her. There was only one her Crane watched obsessively. There was only one woman whose location he tracked, whose cameras he accessed, whose movements he followed like routine prayer. Her. Elena Grant. A soft metal tap, like someone lightly brushing a coin against her front door. No. She muted the laptop. The tapping came again. 3 slow, deliberate knocks. Knock, knock, knock. Elena grabbed her phone and crept toward the hallway, bare feet quiet on the hardwood. She peeked through the peephole. Nothing. Just empty porch boards glistening with old rain. Her phone buzzed. Blocked number. She answered. Who is this? You shouldn't watch things you're not ready for, Elena. Her pulse exploded in her ears. Crane? You think I'd knock on your door like a stranger? Where are you? I'm right where I always am. Closer than you think. Soft creak from inside her house. Behind her. Elena spun around. The hallway was empty, but the shadows shifted like someone had just stepped out of view. She clutched her phone tighter. You come near me and you were never in danger from me. Then who is a danger to me? You won't believe me if I tell you. Try me. She will. Who? The woman from the video. The one you met at my door. Elena's breath froze. She said she was your wife. She's not my wife. She's not anybody's wife. Something about the way he said it made every light bulb in her mind turn red. What does that mean? It means she isn't what you think. Then tell me what she is. She's the reason I started watching you. Elena's heart slammed into her ribs. What does she want from me? A long silence. A silence that felt like an answer in itself. You should really check your basement again. Call disconnects. Dead air. Elena lowered the phone slowly. The house felt wrong. Like the air itself had changed temperature. Like she wasn't alone in it anymore. Her basement door stood halfway open, a thin slice of darkness spilling into the hall. A faint footstep. Below. In the basement. Elena backed away, pulse shuddering. Something whispered her name. Not Crane's voice, not the woman's voice. A voice that sounded like her own. Soft whisper. Elena. Elena frozen at the top of the stairs, listening as the whisper drifts up from the darkness below, calm and patient, as if it had been waiting for this exact moment. Wind moaning through the eaves, a heater clicking on and off, the faint hum of electronics warming up. Elena hadn't slept, not for a second. The house held its breath with her, every window dark, every hallway too quiet, like the walls were listening. At 4:12 a.m., her phone buzzed with a notification she didn't recognize. A new folder, a new file, created at 3:59 a.m. She stared at the screen with a mixture of dread and curiosity twisting through her gut. Finite. Your Rees 0039.mp4. Her throat tightened. No, that's impossible. The video began in darkness. Then, slowly, grainy night vision hues formed a shape. Her bedroom. Her bed. The silhouette of her sleeping body. A figure stood in the corner. Tall, perfectly still. Not moving, not breathing, just watching her. Elena's breath hitched, her eyes burning with disbelief, heartbeat pulsing underneath the audio. The figure leaned in, inches closer to the lens. A shadowed jawline, a glint of something like a lens or a reflective surface, and a whisper so soft it barely existed. You should have stayed asleep. The clip ended, 10 seconds long. No timestamps, No device listed. Just the video. This isn't real. This has to be edited. But she knew better. The angle was exactly where her smoke detector sat, a device she had never touched since moving in. She grabbed a chair, climbed up, and yanked the detector down. Plastic snaps. A small object clatters to the floor. Inside the casing, tucked where a battery should have been, was a tiny black lens. A camera, wireless, professionally installed. Oh God. Crane, you put this here, didn't you? From outside, a car door shut softly. She froze, listened. Another click. A second car door, then muffled voices. She crept to the window and eased the curtain just enough to see. 2 figures stood in Crane's driveway. One was Crane. The other, the woman from the passenger seat, the one with the matching copper hair. But now Elena saw something new. A bruise shaped like fingers across the woman's forearm. Fresh, dark. The woman glanced up, straight at Elena's window, as if she knew Elena was watching. Her lips moved, a whisper Elena couldn't hear, but she could read it. Help me. Crane placed a hand on the woman's back, steering her toward the house. She didn't resist, but she didn't follow willingly either. It was like watching someone walk underwater. Elena's phone buzzed again. A new message from an unknown sender. 1 sentence. Stop watching us. No, I'm done being scared. I'm done. She grabbed her keys, her coat, her bag. She didn't know where she was going, just that she had to leave now. But when she stepped into the hall, every light in the house flickered. Once, twice, then went out. A soft sound drifted from her bedroom doorway. A slow, rhythmic tap, knuckles brushing the doorframe. Elena, you should have stayed asleep. She held her breath so tightly her chest hurt. Every cell in her body screamed to move, to run, to scream, but her feet refused. Another tap on the doorframe. We need to talk. You've made this very complicated. Elena backed away, step by trembling step, until her spine hit the cold front door. She reached for the lock, her fingers shaking, and just as her hand brushed the deadbolt, her phone lit up one more time. A live feed from the stolen camera. The video showed her hallway, right now, and in the grainy frame, only one thing was visible: a hand reaching toward her from behind. Wind rattling the windows, a low, distant hum, like electrical current behind a wall. Elena didn't sleep. She sat on the living room floor with her back against the couch, every light on, staring at the basement door like it might open on its own. Crane's shadow on her hallway camera, the woman's locket, the vanishing evidence in her phone. Her world was shrinking, collapsing into a tight circle of fear she couldn't step out of. At 3:14 a.m., the hum began. Soft at first, a vibration in the floorboards, a faint pulse in the walls. It was coming from the basement. Elena, not tonight. Please, not again. She grabbed a flashlight, swallowing the tremor in her breath, and moved to the basement door. Her hand hovered over the knob. She jumped back. Elena, no. No, no, no. A warm draft spilled out, smelling faintly of dust and something else. Something metallic. Her phone vibrated in her pocket. She checked the screen. New connected device. CR. Property access 01. Door unlocked. Her house wasn't just being watched, it was being controlled. She stepped back. Her phone buzzed again, this time with a notification she couldn't ignore. Message from unknown. Come downstairs, Elena. You need to see what he built for you. Her stomach dropped. Her throat closed. Elena. Who are you? Another message. The woman in the car. You'll understand soon. And then, right below it, an attachment. A photo. A dimly lit room, concrete walls, and painted across the far wall in huge, uneven letters. Welcome home, Elena. The flash in the photo reflected on something metallic in the corner. A chair. Straps. Bolted to the floor. Elena. No, that's not in my house. It can't be. Only it was. Because behind the chair, behind the concrete, was the same crack in the far left basement wall she'd always assumed was old foundation damage. Her hand shook as she pushed the basement door fully open. Long, groaning creak. The hum louder now, vibrating the air. She stepped onto the first stair. The wood gave under her weight, moaning like something waking up. Halfway down, the hum cut out. Silence. Absolute silence. Elena. Hello? Woman's voice. You're almost there. Elena spun toward the voice, flashlight slicing the dark, but there was no one above her, no one below, just the empty basement, cold and waiting. The flashlight beam swept across the concrete floor and stopped on faint scrape marks. A rectangle on the far wall where dust didn't settle. A hidden door. Elena's breath hitched. Her fingers trembled as she reached out and pressed the cleaner rectangle of concrete. It shifted, then slid sideways with a grinding sound that filled the entire house. Behind it, a room. The room from the photo. Dim, shallow, concrete. And inside, in the corner, a monitor flickered on, static for a moment, then a live feed of Elena herself standing in the doorway of the secret room. Elena. Snow. Turn off. Turn it off! She slapped the screen. It didn't budge. Something crackled overhead. A speaker. Woman's voice. Don't be afraid. He built this for you, to keep you safe, just like he kept me. What are you talking about? Who are you? You know who I am. You just don't remember yet. The hum returned, louder now, vibrating the room, rattling the walls. A second monitor flicked on, then a third, one showing Crane's house, another showing Elena pacing earlier that night, another showing her asleep days before, rooms she'd never walked through, angles no one should have access to. Her entire life archived, cataloged. Elena, why are you doing this to me? Because you were his first choice, and I was only ever a replacement. Elena spun as the concrete door sealed her inside the secret room. Darkness swallowed the edges of her vision. The only light came from the monitors, each one showing a different moment of her life. Now inside the room, welcome back, Elena. The screen closest to her flicked to a new camera angle. Not the basement, not Crane's house. A dark street. A car door opening. A woman stepping out. The same woman with the locket. The camera zoomed slowly toward her face. But this time, the woman wasn't looking at the house. She was looking directly into the camera, smiling. And when she whispered, He can't protect you anymore. All monitors crackle, electricity surges. A heavy mechanical lock engages somewhere deep inside the walls. Elena lunged at the door, pounding, clawing, desperate, but the concrete didn't move. The room hummed with a low, predatory anticipation, and Elena finally realized this wasn't a place Crane had built to keep someone else from escaping. This room was built for her.